Do you actually know what your mind is? Hey, Jason here. If you've been watching the channel, you've been seeing me now 10 years in the game as an expat, and I'm on my fourth country, third continent in Lusaka, Zambia. And one of the things I've started to do is not only share with you some of the tips and secrets that I've learned along the way of being an expat for 10 years, but also if you're thinking about becoming an expat or already one, why you should be considering Lusaka, Zambia as a viable option to come to, and for all the opportunities that exist here, especially when it's around business and creating generational wealth. Now, because I really like to talk about generational wealth, it is something that is very, very highly on my focal point. I wanted to talk about the mind. Now, this is what I'm finna share with you today is not something I created. This isn't something I discovered on my own. I actually learned this in the year-long coaching program of Bob Proctor. And I wanted to talk to you about it because I feel like this is such one viable information that a lot of people are not getting any information to, and the regular school system does not teach this. In fact, the regular school system is actually using some of this information to program you to just be a worker. This is why a lot of people are not reaching their goals and dreams. Like a lot of things that we're forced to do through the school system is some of the things that are holding us back the most. And so, let's go ahead and get into it. Now, I do have a whiteboard in my hand. So excited. I just found one today at a reasonable price, so I had to pick it up. I'm going to get the setup a lot better. Give me some time, but I just had to get this because I was like, I want to be able to get this information to you. And sometimes just speaking is not enough. You actually have to see the things also. And so before I show you the whiteboard, when I ask you, what is your mind, MIND, what is the picture that comes into your head? Now, if you're like most people, you're going to think about your brain. Your brain is not your mind. Your brain is the switchboard that helps create certain things you get from your mind to physical reality. And so that may sound really weird, like, Jason, what the heck are you talking about? Let me just show you this right here. So this is what I learned from Bob Proctor. This is the mind. Now, this is showing a baby right here. When we're coming into this world as a baby, we have just our subconscious. This is what I mean when I say we're programmed by birth. The baby, until a certain age, and the age is anywhere between 5 and 7 years old, they're just a complete blank slate. So if you actually watch a child, especially if you have a child, pay attention to them. They're observing every single thing that you're doing and everybody else that is around you. They're taking in all of that information. And what they're doing with that information, they're starting to mimic it. This is why the body is part of the mind also. And so you have, as a baby, just your subconscious, which they're taking in all of the information, the body, and then that gets results. Now, for a child, the major results that we see from most kids as they're starting to grow up is they begin to walk. That is their first milestone. Well, crawling is their first milestone, and then it's walking. And so what they're doing is they're looking at you. They're using their senses to look at what the other people are doing, and they're trying to mimic their body to do what they do. Now, because they don't have all the muscle control and muscle memory, in the beginning, they're actually starting to crawl. They're just doing whatever they can with the resources that they have. They're creating a path. This is what muscle memory really means. Muscle memory is you're creating things you observe, and you're doing it over and over again, and it's in your body until it becomes to a habitual point or part of your paradigm. And so we're going to break a lot of this down in this video. Now, let's say now that child has become 10 years old. So when that child becomes 10 years old, they have taken in enough information around them, and they start to develop their conscious mind. So as you see right there, there's now a closed off to the subconscious. They no longer need to be completely programmed because they have enough programming to operate off of, just like a computer. And then their conscious mind is developed. Now, their conscious mind is operating off of these little antennae, which we call our senses. And let me write this down for you. So just imagine these little antennae, these are our five senses. And how we do when we're operating now, most of the things that we experience in the world is based off of our five senses. So the things that we see, the things that we hear, the things that we taste, touch, all of these different things are coming from our senses, and it's stimulating our conscious mind. As you see, the senses are on top of the conscious mind. So that's where the senses are giving all information to. It just feeds the conscious mind. It does not feed your subconscious mind. So then what you're doing, your conscious mind is actually putting your body into a certain vibration, which is now getting you new results. And so what this is called is, it has what it's doing, because our conscious mind was created by the information we were developed or we were programmed by from our subconscious mind as a baby. So what type of neighborhood did you grow up in? What type of family did you grow up in? What were the habitual patterns of that family? When most people tell their kids, do as I say, not as I do, they do not realize they're making a cardinal sin. The child can never do what you tell them to do. They will only do what they were programmed by seeing. Because what is the main sense that a child has from birth? The first thing he's doing is they're seeing everything. They're looking. And so that is what a child is going to actually demonstrate, is the behavior of the parents or the people who are around them majority of the time. And so this is very, very important. So in that subconscious mind is your operating orders, because you do things without having to think about them. And those operating orders are called paradigms. And so this usually makes up a full human being now. You have a complete operating system of the things that you believe are true for you in your life. And your conscious mind, through your senses, is actually giving you information to validate what you have been programmed with or based off your paradigm. This is your habitual behavior. Like, this is one of the things a lot of people don't realize. We're all creatures of habits. And if you actually want to change your life, you have to understand what is some of that paradigm, that operating system or paradigms that you have. It's your habitual behaviors. So when I was well over 300 kilos, how did I actually start changing to get down to, I think at that time I was like at 100 and, I think I was at my lowest 100 kilos. And that's where I'm actually now on the way of getting down to 90 kilos. And so what I actually had to do was I had to biohack my paradigm. I had to biohack my paradigm. I had to go into my subconscious mind and start reprogramming that. So my operating orders would say more healthy things. Now, the first thing that I started doing that was re-educating myself. One of the things, and this is one of my favorite quotes, the ignorant of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write. It will be those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And like, really think about that. When was the last time you unlearned something that you already know to be true? And because I knew what it meant to be healthy at that time, and then one day I woke up and I was like, wait, diabetes running my family, heart issues running my family, blood pressure issues running my family. I remember my granddad had a triple heart bypass. All of these different things ran in my family. My grandmother was on insulin. And I was like, wait, I don't know what it means to be healthy. Because remember, as a child, my whole subconscious, I was taking in the habits of everybody that was around me. So these generational curses, which we're told about, they're not really generational curses. They're just things that we have to unlearn and refigure them out. Oh, I hope this is looking good. Sorry about that. The lighting is really bad today. And so what I did, I went into my subconscious. First thing I started doing was telling myself, I do not know what it means to be healthy. So what does it mean to actually be healthy? And then I started researching. I started relearning. So when I admitted I didn't know, I started unlearning the things that I thought meant to be healthy, like, oh, eat your weight in protein, 1 gram of protein per weight. All of that nonsense. I used to eat like 40 hard-boiled eggs a day. All of this silly stuff. And then I was wondering why I was having so much health issues. And so I started actually relearning. I started watching documentaries. I started going to seminars that doctors were speaking at. I started reading actual medical research papers for myself. I started understanding what those words mean. Hey, come on now. Sorry about that. The internet has been horrible these last few days, man. And I keep getting a pop-up saying it. And so when I started relearning or learning the new material, what happened was at the same time, I was changing my subconscious mind. So when my subconscious changed, my conscious mind changed because my 5 senses, my taste buds changed. I was actually starting to see more healthy options of foods to eat. Like I realized, wait, I can just go and buy some apples if I'm hungry. I don't have to go eat some French fries. I don't have to go eat a hamburger. I don't have to go eat fried chicken. I can make this choice of going to a grocery store, buy a small bag of apples or buy a couple of loose apples, rinse them off with a bottle of water and eat them. I never thought of that before. I didn't even think that was an option. I started seeing more vegan type foods. I started desiring the taste for more healthy food. I started understanding spelt flour, chickpea flour. I started seeing these things that I never knew existed, but they were around me the entire time. And this is the beautiful thing about that. And so because my subconscious changed and my conscious mind changed, not only were my senses different, my body began to change. I started walking more. I started doing jump rope. I started doing all these different things that was healthy for me. And the results that I got was I was able to walk without using a cane anymore. Most people didn't know this. And most people still don't believe me when I tell them this to this day. On my left leg, after I had my spinal fusion and they repaired my spinal cord, part of my spinal membrane and my spinal cord, I was partially paralyzed below my left knee. I didn't have a complete feeling in there. I had burned myself with scalding hot water once that was leaking from the tap in my bathtub. I almost thought I broke my ankle at one point because I kept twisting my ankle. I had drop foot, so I had to wear prosthetics and all these different things. And then one of the results that I got was the nerves regrew in my left leg. I don't need any of that stuff anymore. I don't wear any of the prosthetics. I say I have about a 75 to 85% sensation back in my left leg now. I'm no longer taking blood pressure pills anymore. All of these different things. And plus I got so much more results from it. So like, if you want to get results, you need to start here in your subconscious mind. If you change the operating orders or the paradigms, your conscious mind, your senses will start manipulating the actual physical body and what it does. Now, this just doesn't mean in weight loss also. Let's talk about business. Like most people don't know this. I didn't grow up in an entrepreneurial family. I didn't grow up with a father. I didn't grow up with people who knew more than go get a good education and get a good job. And the funny thing is like when people thought like, oh, how did you get into the post office so easy after you left the military, all of this? The reason being is because my mom was in the post office. As a kid, I used to be there at the post office with her at times. I was programmed at a young age of the post office is something that is easily obtainable for me because I've seen people in my family do it. And so it wasn't a difficult thing. It was part of my paradigm. And I knew I was going for postal inspector and all these different things. However, how did Jason become the entrepreneur? Remember, the ignorant of the 21st century is not those who cannot read and write. It is those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. I had to unlearn what does it mean to be able to earn money in this world. And you hear that word that I said, earn money. Most of us say make money. And so when I started understanding we don't make money, we earn money, which means we sacrifice something to be able to get that monetary in return. When we're doing the regular 9 to 5, no matter if you're someone who's working at an entry level job or if you're all the way up to a CEO, you're trading or exchanging your time for that money. That is how you're earning it, through your time. And so I started learning about business. I started studying Robert Kiyosaki. I started studying Bob Proctor. I started studying Napoleon Hill. I started reading books about getting money. I started studying Grant Cardone about real estate. I didn't even know you could even be a real estate developer. I didn't even think it was ever an option in my life, to be honest. And I started falling in love with those things. And so when I started falling in love with them, my subconscious mind started to shift. The operating order stopped thinking of, okay, what job do I need? And it started thinking, what can I do to earn money? What are ways outside the box that I can earn money? That's when we discovered Amazon direct publishing. And that's how I have a book publishing company with Amazon, within Amazon, selling journals and certain other books. I have things in Kindle. Also, I started understanding email marketing, the digital marketing world. This is how I started learning these things. And then as I started learning them, my conscious mind, because all the things that I was focused on was learning, my senses were seeing just entrepreneurs, people who were making money, people who were doing things to actually earn money. I'm sorry, not making money, doing things to earn money through value, through providing value to people. This is one of the reasons why I always tell people everyone should have a social media channel. Social media isn't social media. Social media is business of the 22nd century. We just don't understand it yet. It's easy to understand the things when you're looking back, but when you're in the middle of it or it's coming to you, you don't see all the opportunities that really exist there. And social media is one of those. The only catch with social media is you can't be vulgar. Like you hear these people that's complaining, oh, I'm blacklisted, I'm shadow banned, I keep getting demonetized. They're being vulgar, disrespectful. They're doing things that do not target advertising. If you see my channel, like I'm talking about reasons about Zambia, reasons about Africa, traveling. I talk about a lot about mindset. Those are things that companies can advertise with. If I'm sitting here showing you women in a nightclub, nakedly dressed women, going out drinking, doing drugs, no one wants to advertise on that. Advertisement means family friendly. The days of all of this Pornhub and all this other stuff, those days are over. And they're not coming back. And that's for a good reason. Because like, think about it. If you have kids or even if you don't have kids, do you want your kids or future kids to be subjugated to that type of material? I remember when I first got on the internet back in 98 or 99, no matter what little thing you put in the internet, some type of adult content material will pop up. It was annoying. And that was me as a kid. It was like, dude, like, I'm not even trying to see this stuff. I think at that time I was just trying to, listen to Limp Bizkit or find music and get stuff downloaded through, I can't even remember the name of that pirating software, Napster. I was just trying to get stuff like that. And it was like, you get all of this pop-up of adult content. And it was disgusting. I'm going to be honest with you. And a lot of people got indoctrinated into that type of content at a young age, which they shouldn't have. And so this is why advertising is the way it is now. Like, nobody wants to relive those years again. And I hope you don't want to also. So this keeping it real or I'm going to be me, guys, you need to filter yourself. Like, please filter yourself if you're going to get on social media. Because if not, you're going to be in that blacklist or stuff like that. But like once your subconscious mind, so let's get back to it. Once the subconscious mind changed because you learned new material in that. And see, the thing is, once you're starting to learn new material, you're already activating your conscious mind to shift also, plus your senses. Because you can't learn something without either reading something, listening to something, talking about something. You have to be engaged in it. And so this is where you start doing the complete shift. And after a while, your physical body will start to change. You will start taking opportunities. That's how I got into crypto. Remember, if I always tell these stories about how I should have been a billionaire through crypto because I had the opportunity to invest in Bitcoin when it was less, well, $50. Actually, it was a little bit less, but I did not jump on the opportunity because my programmer didn't understand Bitcoin as a way to be money. I couldn't see that as a money in my head. I'm like, you telling me this Bitcoin is called coin? It's a bit, but I can't see it. I can't touch it. I can't hold it. It's just sitting in this digital wallet. What's a digital wallet? It ain't nothing but a bank account. Let's be honest. A digital wallet is no different than a bank account. And so my conscious mind, none of my senses were saying anything good about it. Like none of my senses was looking for it, seeing opportunities, understanding it. And so my body, I was physically never actually investing in Bitcoin. So my results were, guess what? Jason is not a billionaire when he had a huge opportunity to be a billionaire if I would have been investing just half the money that I was wasting on eating out, going to movies, going to hotels and stuff like that back in that time. I would be a billionaire right now. And so I hope this helped you. I'm going to do another video of this. I'm going to end up doing it on the whiteboard, on the computer and stuff. I just really wanted to share this with you because if you really, really start studying this and you actually take the time to apply this to your life, there is nothing you cannot do to change your life. Oh, let me just share this with you. I always tell you about how I ended up getting started into being a nomad. Truth be told, like when we first started, let me see if this way a little better. Okay, that's a little bit better. Let me move the camera here. And this just shows you some of the headaches of filming, guys. It ain't always that pretty. And so the first thing I started doing when I started thinking about could I live overseas full time was I started actually up here. And this is what I did. I started first I started here, in the subconscious. And what I started doing at first, I started asking myself the questions of how can I live overseas on just off of my pension? I didn't think it was possible. I never knew anybody who did it. And so when I started asking that question here, my senses kicked in and I started actually finding, so remember, you have to learn, unlearn, relearn. My senses started bringing up videos on YouTube, International House Hunters. So I started watching those shows. And that's where I was changing my conscious mind. I was seeing it possible through other people. And then because I saw it was possible, it actually became a belief here. And I was like, I know I can do this. I started seeing how people were able to live in different countries and it wasn't costing nowhere near as much as the United States. When it came a belief, then I did something drastic. My body said, hey, let's go on a 2-week vacation to Panama. So we went to Panama for 2 weeks. And so in that 2 weeks in Panama, we realized how much it costs to actually rent there, how much is food, how much is transportation, all of these different things. We were learning more on the ground. And then after that, when we came back, we left we left in June, I believe. I think we left on the 5th of June in 2015. We left the United States and look where I'm at now. It is 2025 and I live in Africa. That's how powerful this is. Africa was not even on my list of places that I was looking at. But because I changed my operating orders or my paradigm about being able to live overseas, it's not hard for me to be able to move to any part of the world that I want to go to and that I feel safe and secure in. You have the ability to do this also, but you have to start understanding how to use your mind properly. And you have to understand what the mind really is. It is not the brain. The brain is the switchboard. The brain deals with the electromagnetic energy within our bodies. The brain has a very, very, very important thing to do. but that's something that's completely different. That's going into your brain heart coherence. I definitely would recommend listening to Joe Dispenza on that one. He's probably the subject matter expert on that. But if you just want to start getting these changes right now today, just start understanding how to operate your mind, how to really change your mind. Most people do not know how to change their mind. They just think saying words is going to change your mind. You must start changing the paradigms in your subconscious. So then your senses and your conscious mind will start seeing things from a different perspective. And once you start seeing from that different perspective, your body will start taking inspired action or divine action. And that will get you the results that you actually want. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I apologize for the picture quality of today's video. I'm going to get a stand and everything to where I can be standing up, writing all of this stuff down. This is very important information. This is something you're going to be seeing me talk about this a very lot more. Remember, psychology is the study of self. And if you don't start taking the time to truly know yourself, and understand how your mind works, because all of us have different minds. We were programmed by different people. You will never be able to change your results. And I'm telling you right now, everyone has the ability to change their results, including you. And so any questions or comments, leave them down below. Just remember this, I'm Jason, and success is simple once you know how.